Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel. Sorry for my voice. I've been under the weather for a while now but I'm back. I'm better. I believe. So in today's video we'll be making this bubble gown with we drawn strange waistline. As you can see, my fabric is folded into four. We are cutting the back and the front bodice together, and you can see at the end of the fabric you see that I have a little bit of excess there that will serve as the center whatever we are going to do as we go on to the video. So the first thing I did is to mark a straight line to serve as our starting point. Meanwhile, I am using African print, so I just marked out the label on it. So yeah, that's where we are going to start. So our measurement is going to be starting from the folded part, which is the upper bodice, and we are going to be marking the back one, which is going to serve as the front. The only difference will be our neckline. So the first thing I did is to mark half of my shoulder measurement, and then from that starting point I went down by 9 inches for my armhole depth. If you want your armhole to be a little bit free, please mark at 10 inches or 10.5, but I want it to be a little bit fitted. That's why I marked at 9 inches. So I just marked the line straight to so that you guys can see what I am doing, and I also connected my shoulder line to meet the armhole line. The line wasn't straight, that's why I remarked it. Then the next thing I did is to go down by 1 inch for my armhole depth, and then I'll go ahead and connect it to my shoulder line. Then once I am done, we are going to go ahead and work on our neckline. And for my back neckline, I went down by 1.5 inches, and then for the width I marked at 3 inches. I'm just going to make a curve to make for connecting to our then for my front neckline I went down by 7 inches. I'm going to make a mark there and then slant it to meet my back neckline, which is at 3 inches. And this 7 inches we are going to make some adjustment to it as we go on to the video. Then the next thing I did is to mark my bust measurement divided by 4, and my bust measurement is 42 divided by 4. I made a point there. Then I'm going to be adding 2 inches for ease. If you can add less or more depending on how free or how tight you want it. And then I added 1 inch allowance for stitching. Then for my sleeve, my sleeve is 7 inches plus 1 inch allowance. In fact, I increased it to 8 inches because I don't want it to be too short. So I marked my sleeve at 8 inches, then plus 1 inch allowance for stitching. Then I'm going to go ahead and connect my sleeve to my bust measurement. The next thing I'm going to do is to placing my neckline on my shoulder. I'm going to go ahead and mark my half length. You can as well mark all your horizontal measurement before you start inserting your vertical ones. So I marked my waist half length and also my hip measurement, which is at 17 and then at 25 inches for my hip. I'm just marking the lines across so that you guys can see what I am doing. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm just trying to make the line straight. Because of where I was standing, it was difficult to determine how straight the lines are. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to insert my waist measurement divided by 4. My waist is 38 inches. I'm also going to add 2 inches allowance, just like we added to our bust, and then 1 inch allowance for ease. I'm going to go ahead and connect it to my bust. You see the way I connected mine. You see the way it's curved at the armhole area. That's how you're going to curve yours as well. It's not going to be a straight line. Then once I am done with that, I'm going to insert my my hip measurement divided by 4, and my hip is 47 inches. plus 2 inches allowance for ease, and then plus 1 inch allowance for joining. I'm going to extend it my measurement to my hip, and then placing my shoulder still at my shoulder line. I'm going to go ahead and mark the full length of the gown, and for this is at 38 inches. My length is at 38 inches, is above my knee, and then I added 2 inches allowance for hemming it. So I'm just going to connect this line straight to meet my hem. By the time I was sewing it, I noticed that the lines wasn't straight, so I cut it, but just connect the line straight. So I just extended the 1 inch shoulder slope we went down with to my armhole line, and that's basically all for the marking for now. If you haven't subscribed up to this moment, please take 1 minute to hit on the subscribe button. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, share my videos to family and friends as well, and please watch my ads. Whenever you see my videos, please watch my ads. That's where we YouTube can we get a little bit of money from those ads. So what I did first is to cut out my back neckline, and before then I removed my back bodice before going ahead to cut my front bodice. I hope we get this. Please don't make mistake of cutting your front and your back neckline together. Make sure you cut the back one first, especially when it has a higher neck. So the next thing I did is to open my bodice, the front bodice, and then I'm going to go ahead and place my back bodice on it. Once I place this the back bodies on it, I'm going to go ahead and start pinning this down. Or you can as well stitch without pinning down, but I will advise that you pin your fabrics down first. It makes the work easier and neater. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch the two shoulders before going to my sewing machine to stitch the two switch shoulders down. So this is it after I was done stitching it down, the two shoulders down. The next thing I'm going to do the next thing I'm going to do is to hem um my armhole. Remember we added 1 inch, so you are going to hem with as small as possible. If you want to fold with bigger fabrics, please add more allowance while adding your hemming allowance. So this is it after I was done with the armhole. The next thing I'm going to do is to arrange the seam side well. Remember we added 1 inch, so I'm going to stitch at 1 inch all the way down, and I'll do the same thing for the other side. By the time I finished sewing this and I tested it, I discovered that the 2 inches I added for ease was too much for me. So that's why I mentioned of adding less or more depending on what you want. So I reduced it by half inch, so I have 1.5 inches as is. Then for the center front, the I don't know if we should call this collar or rope. So I'm going to fold my fabric into two. We are not going to measure the whole thing because in measuring the whole thing is going to be more than the tape and might be confusing. So I'm going to be measuring from the center of my back neckline all the way through to my hemming. So once I was done measuring this, the next thing I did is to cut out fabric straps for it. And for this I have the length is as long as my fabric. The length of my fabric, remember, is into two. That's from one hem to through the neckline to the other side. So the next thing I'm going to do, I cut out 4 inches for the width, and then the length, just I say, as long as it is. Then I folded the two sides and then fold it into two. I hope you understand it, and went ahead to iron it. And then this one is the one I'm going to be using to pass my drawstring, my rope. And for this I have about 2.5 inches, and I made a fold to the two side by half inch. Just fold at the two side. I'm not going to close up the folding like the first one. And this is the rope you're going to pass through it once you are done. And for this I have 1 inch for this. So just like I did at the one at the center, I'm going to fold in the beginning and then fold the two sides before folding closing it up to stitch it down. So once we are done cutting out all the ropes and then ironing it down in preparation of to attach it, the next thing I'm going to do is to get the one for my center front. I'm going to go ahead and get that one. Then we are going to go ahead and attach it to the gown. And for this I'm going to mark, because you don't want to, by the time you want to start attaching it, you attach some at half inch and then some at 1 inch. So I'm going to be marking half inch all round from the hem of my fabric to the other side. I'm going to mark half inch all round. Once I am done marking the half inch, what I am going to do next is to open the um fabric bias, let's call it fabric bias that we did, and then I'm going to place my bodice into it. So with that, with the half inch that we marked, we have a guide of where we are stitching. We are stitching this all around at that mark that we made. So this is it after I was done stitching it down all the way through. The next thing we are going to do is to arrange our fabric, and then we're going to measure from our neckline to where we want our drawn strings to start to be. Make sure you arrange your fabric well so that by the time you measure, you make sure you'll be sure that is at where you want it to be. And for this, I'm going to be measuring from my shoulder line downwards to my waistline, and my waistline is 17 inches. If you are on a bigger side, when I mean on the bigger side that your tummy is bigger, I would advise that you make it um to go up a little bit towards your underbust, not really at your underbust but towards your underbust, so that you can have enough space to accommodate your tummy. I hope you understand this, so that it's more hidden than placing it at your tummy. So I just extended the 17 inches that I marked, and then for the back one, I marked at 18 inches because I don't want it to be too high. I want it to be around my back waist. But if you see the video of how it looks on my body and you are not comfortable with 18 inches at the back, please go ahead and mark at 17 inches as well through the back. Now that means you are going to have 17 by 17 inches all around. And then for this 18 inches that I marked, when you are fixing it, you notice that when going towards the back, you notice that it's not straight. All you have to do is to just keep sewing and then adjusting it to meet the 18 inches. And then to attach the rope that we made for our string, I'm going to fold the first make the first fold, stitch it down just to close the rough edges. Then we'll close the where we iron and then place it. We are not placing this at the rope that we at the collar we attached at the front part. I don't even know what to call that. So I started away from that, and then we are going to stitch all the way, remember where we marked 17 inches, all the way to through the back and to the other side. And this is it after I was done marking it, stitching it down. Sorry. The next thing we are going to do is to determine where our pocket is going to be. And for this my pocket, just wanted to give it a little bit of design. I'm going to be marking making one pocket higher than the other. Then for this one I marked at 22 inches, if I am not mistaken, as of now. And then for the other side I marked at 20 inches, so it's just like 2 inches higher or lower than the other one. So once I make that mark, I'm going to go ahead and get my pocket that I've already prepared. And for this pocket, I have about 8 inches all around, and I've gone ahead to iron half inch inward, for half inch all around inward, except for the upper part. I'm going to attach this white band for just a bit of design to it. So I'm just going to go ahead and place this band at the front of my pocket, stitch it down, and then we are going to go ahead and flip it over to come towards the to be how we want it to be. So once I am done with that, I'm going to go ahead and attach it. Remember what we made, the points we made. So this pocket is going to be starting from there. And for the center, I moved away from the center by 1 inch or 1.25 inches. I'm going to go ahead and pin this down before going to my sewing machine to stitch it all around the 3 sides. We are not stitching at the upper side because it's a pocket. You need the opening to be a pocket. So once I am done with this, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. And remember that the other side will be higher by 2 inches. So I'm going to go ahead. It's just like I pinned this one. I'm going to go ahead and pin the other side as well before going to stitch it down. If you've been watching up to this moment, I want to use this opportunity to say thank you for sticking with me, even with my bad voice. Thank you for watching up to this moment. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed to my channel. Please share my videos to family and friends. And then the next thing I did is to hem the fabric by the allowance that we added. Once I am done hemming it, this is what we have. Is almost to like almost coming to the end of the video of the tutorial. So the next thing I'm going to do is to flip this to the back because we want to stitch the center. Once I flip this to the back, I'm going to go ahead. I'll make sure I arrange all the fabrics well, and this is where the alteration of the neckline is. But this neckline, you can as well mark it the how wide you want it at the beginning. But for me, just to be on the safer side, so I'm going to go down by 10 inches. So my opening is going to start from 10 inches. I'll hold it there, and then I'll stitch from that 10 inches downward. We are stitching to something less than half inch. So for me, I stitch as 0.25, and because I wanted to have slits, I went up by 6 inches. So our stitching is going to start from 10 to 6 inches away from the hem. So this is it after stitching it down. It has come together. The next thing I'm going to do is to attach our rope to our drawstring so that we can be able to like tie the waistline per se. And that's basically all for this style. Watch to see the outcome of it on my body at the end of the video. And thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking with me through this video of my bad voice. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, please, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed to my channel. I hope to bring more tutorials to you going forward, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.